Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my channel? Thank you so much. I was pregnant with Leo's baby, but I didn't dare tell him that crazy night was my doing. Feeling I had no choice, I ran off with the baby, only to be found by him while buying baby formula. He laughed coldly, biting his words, whether ditching the dad or using someone for a baby. You're really good at those games. I kept quiet, and this only seemed to anger him more. Where's my child? The little rascal behind me chimed in, adding fuel to the fire. Who are you? Mommy said. My daddy is dead. For a moment, the normally cold expression on his face cracked. Clara, you've outdone yourself. His hand clenched a bit. This was Leo's turf. Who knows how much courage it took for me to come back. I had told a friend beforehand that I was returning and got a thumbs up and you're really brave. I wanted to cry without tears. It's not like I wanted to come back, but getting a kid into school here was next to impossible. I didn't expect to get caught only days after returning. Thinking about it, I pulled Jackson behind me. Leo, you've misunderstood. Jackson has a dad, he's just not here yet. When he said his dad was dead, that was just nonsense I said during a fight with my husband. The air went still and I could hear my nervous heartbeat getting louder. Leo seemed to understand. Oh, so you slept with me, then had someone else's kid? I was stunned. Why bring this up again? I was pondering how to get out of this when suddenly I heard my friend Lily's voice. Clara. Seeing who stood in front of me, she frowned. Leo, what are you doing here? Probably not wanting to make a scene, Leo straightened his clothes and smiled at me. Clara, we have plenty of time. A flash of light caught my eye. It was Leo's cufflink. It didn't match his otherwise expensive-looking suit. It was the pair I gave him back then, when Leo and I were in the honeymoon phase, and I didn't know much about his background. Those cufflinks were the most decent gift I could afford for him. When I gave them to him, it was the first time I realized how well off Leo was. On his birthday, he rented a venue and invited many classmates and friends. Everywhere I looked, people were dressed in what seemed like expensive outfits. The gifts for Leo were from brands I'd heard of but never seen. Not having been hit by reality, I confidently handed him the gift. Some couldn't hide the disdain in their eyes, probably never expected something like this to be presentable. But Leo liked it, and he put them on right there. I overheard some whispers. This thing just downgraded Leo's status. I pretended not to notice. It wasn't until I became more aware of the disparities between people that I thought maybe we should end things. The gap was too big and perseverance seemed pointless. Better to part on good terms. Lily took me to a house she rented for me in advance. Walking in, I couldn't hide my excitement seeing the decor and furniture. It's just my style. Thank you. No biggie. What's your plan now? Lily's gaze fell on Jackson. I'll face it as it comes, no avoiding. Seeing Jackson's face so similar to Leo's, I recalled the night we broke up. It was the first time I saw Leo with misty eyes, asking why I wanted to break up. I hung my head, fiddling with my clothes. Unconsciously, my lips moved to say the harshest words. If I want to break up, that's it, no reason needed. After a long silence, Leo relented. Fine, as you wish. That night, we emptied 2 bottles of wine on the table. Leo held my hand the whole time. Maybe it was the ambiguous atmosphere, but I kissed his side profile with my eyes closed. The breathing next to my ear grew heavy. His eyes opened slightly, and he grabbed my wrist, pulling me to him. I froze for just a moment, then let myself relax into the feeling. Half awake, half asleep, we drifted together. He was inexperienced yet patient. I clung to his shoulder, leaving red marks after a shiver ran through me. I lay there in a daze, then got dressed and left hurriedly. I bought emergency contraceptives at the drugstore but never took them. I didn't expect one shot to hit the mark, and a month later, I had Jackson. Unwilling to abort yet fearful Leo would find out and take him, I hid in a neighboring city. Now Jackson is 4 and I finally dared to return. Leo doesn't know that before all this, his mom came to see me, a graceful woman holding my hand, choking up. Clara, dear, I know you're a good girl, but I beg you to break up with Leo. The family's company is in trouble and Lucy has liked Leo for a long time. As long as they're together, the family crisis can be resolved. Plus, Leo was raised with a silver spoon. He can't endure hardship. Please, for his sake, I'm begging you. I couldn't refuse. Leo was meant to be with someone of equal status, someone who matched his world. He should always remain on top, never falling to the dust. Saturday morning, Jackson sat at the table eating breakfast. Swallowing the last bite of eggs, he looked up. Mom, is David coming today? Yep, David is coming to stay for a month. The little adult nodded, barely concealing his joy. Someone to play with me. Yay! I froze a bit, then quickly lowered my head. My eyes welled up. Without a dad around, Jackson was especially well-behaved and mature, but he still showed envy when seeing others with their dads. Luckily, with David often playing with him, he never felt too lonely. Bringing my thoughts back, I looked at the phone. "It's time, Jackson, let's head out." At the airport, I smiled seeing someone walk towards us. "Tired?" David chuckled. "Easy now, 2 hours on a plane isn't tiring at all." The little kid next to him tugged on David's shirt. "David, did you bring me a present?" David habitually picked up Jackson and said lovingly, "Of course, I'll give it to you when we get home." I followed behind them, feeling a bit happier watching them. Meeting David was pure chance. When Jackson was 6 months old, one night he got a high fever that wouldn't go down. Back then, I was a newbie mom, couldn't drive, and there were no taxis around. In a panic, I remembered my neighbor across the street had a car, so I went over to Jackson's place and knocked on their door. Luckily, the neighbor was home. David opened the door with a towel around his head, just having showered. I didn't notice his brief awkwardness. All I could do was repeat, "Please take us to the hospital. Save him." David quickly went inside, changed, grabbed his car keys, and slipped them into his pocket. As he walked past, he took Jackson from me. I trailed behind him, thanking him constantly. Not until the doctor said Jackson only had pharyngitis and needed a fever shot and some meds did I finally breathe easy. On the way back, the car was silent with Jackson asleep in my arms. After a while, David suddenly asked, "Where's the kid's dad?" I lowered my head. "He passed away." "I'm sorry," David sounded regretful. "It's all right." I looked out the window. Even if he's not dead, it's like he is. The whole thing was my initiative and I never even dared to tell. While Jackson fiddled with the Legos David brought, David approached me. "Clara, this is for you." I looked at the expensive gift bag and shook my head. "Thanks, but I can't accept it." He insisted, pushing it into my hands. "Consider it payment. Join me at a party this weekend." You know it's embarrassing to show up alone. After a few years in the business world, I knew what that scene was about. Thinking of this, I nodded in agreement to David's request. I never thought I'd run into Leo there. David picked me up at the agreed place and took me in. The minute we entered, I saw Leo right in the center. The beautifully made-up girl next to him was Lucy. I'd seen her before. Not long after I started dating Leo, Lucy came to our school. She asked Leo stubbornly, with tears in her eyes, "Can't you try to like me? I've liked you for 5 years. What's so good about her that you love her this much?" What did Leo say back then? "She might not be the best, but just seeing her stand there makes me like her." And now, standing by David, I saw Leo's brief surprise, then Lucy frowning. "You're Clara." I took a deep breath and smiled, linking arms with David. "Yes, I'm Clara. Long time no see, Lucy." After I said that, I saw Lucy lean toward Leo and whisper. Then Leo shook his head, patting her hand. Lucy sat back, frustrated. I sat next to Leo with David. As soon as I sat down, David remembered something. "Who's watching Jackson?" I sent him to Lily. Lucy couldn't hide her shock. "You have kids now?" I replied blandly, "Is that odd? Marriage and kids are normal, aren't they?" Before I could continue, David spoke up. "Lily, it's none of your business." I instinctively glanced at Leo. He suddenly chuckled. "Lily's just curious. Forgive her." I pulled David's sleeve, shaking my head. He huffed, and then I excused myself to the bathroom. I splashed my face with water and found some calm. It's been 5 years. Leo and Lucy being together was inevitable. Why was I being wistful now? Leaving the restroom, someone grabbed my arm. Looking up, it was Leo. He sneered, "Clara, moving on quickly, aren't we? You sure who the kid's dad is?" I stopped, taking a deep breath. Does it matter? As long as he's mine. I walked past him back to the room. David watched me with concern. Once he saw I was fine, he relaxed. Jackson had fallen asleep, so I stepped out. David was on the balcony enjoying the view. He turned when he heard me. "Want a drink?" "Sure." I knew he had questions, so I didn't hide. I sat in a chair by the table. "You know Leo?" "More than just knowing. Much closer." He suddenly realized, appearing shocked. "Leo is Jackson's dad." I didn't deny it. I paused, then asked, "How do you two meet?" David set his drink down, looking bitter. 3 years ago. Heard he was searching for someone. Didn't think it'd be you." I lowered my head. No one would suspect it'd be me. We didn't seem like we'd have met, but we did. We dated for 2 years, like a romance novel, and ended messily. Reflecting, I shook it off. It's over now. David stood, finishing his drink. Clara, I meant what I said. I'm ready to be Jackson's dad and look after you both. I lifted my glass. Thank you. His footsteps faded, and after he left, everything went silent. Staring at the city's lights, I couldn't help thinking of that face, always so stoic in public, yet in private he'd embrace me and whisper my name into my shoulder. Clara, then kiss along my cheek until reaching my lips. Clara, don't ever leave me. I'd tremble and promise I'll never leave you. I was the one who agreed, and I was the one who broke the promise first. On a weekend nearing the end of June, Lily came to me all excited. Are you going to the classmates' reunion? I was about to reply when she cut me off. Leo definitely won't go. He's never attended one of those. I frowned. Lily tugged at my arm. Just go with me, please. All right, let's have David keep Jackson entertained for a bit. Maybe it's because I'm older, but I feel more mature now thinking about meeting those people, those witnesses of how close Leo and I once were. Surprisingly, I felt calm and unfazed. But I forgot what's in your head doesn't always match reality. Those familiar faces easily brought back the past I tried so hard to forget. At the door of the restaurant, Lily patted my shoulder. Let's go. I stepped inside, and the room of people swapping drinks were all familiar faces who'd studied under the same roof. The moment I walked in, the air quieted a bit. I was briefly taken aback, then smiled and greeted, long time no see. No one responded. The crowd parted slowly to reveal someone in the middle. It was Leo. I pressed my lips together and glanced at Lily. She looked just as shocked. At the same time, Leo's deep voice reached my ears. Hello again, Clara. My hands instinctively clenched but then relaxed as Lily held onto them. Perhaps someone worried it'd get awkward, they joked. Leo never joins these events. What brings him here today? That dignified man rubbed his finger along the rim of his glass, drained the last of his drink, and set the glass aside. Then he looked straight at me. I came for Clara. The air turned silent. No one dared to speak, and the person who just joked fell silent. A lot of people knew it was me who. I ended things with Leo, then left without a word. I thought he'd moved on, but he kept looking for me. Not wanting to ruin the fun atmosphere, I raised my glass to Leo from afar. Thanks for thinking of me, Leo. Leo's gaze was inscrutable, but my openness seemed to ease everyone else. The room gradually returned to its lively state, and I pulled Lily to sit in a corner. As soon as we sat, Lily raised her hands. I had no idea he'd be here. I chuckled. I believe you. You look genuinely surprised. I tapped my fingers on the table unconsciously, but my eyes landed precisely on Leo and the crowd. After all these years, he hadn't changed much. Maybe my gaze was too intense. Leo turned slightly to look at me. Our eyes met, and I turned my head in a hurry. Lily leaned in, teasing me. What's going on? Thinking about rekindling the old flame? I lowered my eyes, speaking mildly. Are you crazy or am I? When I was struggling to find a reason to leave early, David suddenly walked in with Jackson. Jackson scanned the room and ran over when he saw me. Mommy! The surrounding chatter quieted for a moment. I heard whispers. Is that Clara's kid? He looks so much like Leo. Don't say that. Maybe that man is her husband. I bowed my head and chuckled, holding Jackson tightly. David came over, picked up Jackson, and took my hand. We came to take you home. The air went silent again. Lily, next to me, was shocked beyond words. I hesitated before standing up. Turning to Lily, I said, I'm heading out now. Holding David's hand, we walked toward the door, feeling the weight of the gazes behind me like a prickly heat. As I was about to step over the threshold, Leo's voice rang out. Clara, once you leave today, it's over for good. I turned back, feeling David's grip tighten. Leo, didn't it end 5 years ago? Leaving the door, the sound of breaking glass echoed inside. David let go of my hand and apologized. Sorry. I took it upon myself to bring Jackson. It's all right, I patted Jackson's head. Doesn't matter now. Such a proud man. I embarrassed him in front of everyone. He probably won't want to see me again. Maybe that's for the best. Once Jackson was asleep, David went to shower, leaving me alone in the living room. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Through the peephole, I saw Leo standing outside. Afraid of waking Jackson, I opened the door. The next moment, he barged in and closed it behind him. My shoulder was seized, turning me around and pressing my back against the dresser. The person in front of me had red-rimmed eyes and a choked-up voice. How could you just leave after breaking up? I've missed you so much. His hand bore down on my shoulder, Leo's warm breath near my ear. He called my name over and over like he did years ago. Clara. Then he kissed along the side of my face. The places where our skin touched felt overwhelmingly warm. I didn't know if the tears were mine or his. Holding on to a moment's tenderness, I closed my eyes before heartlessly pushing away the arms that had circled my waist. Leo, I have a husband and child now. Please leave. Drunken eyes struggled into a semblance of clarity. Clara, say that again, I hesitated, about to speak. David emerged, towel drying his hair, wrapped in a bath towel. Leo snapped to full awareness with a self-mocking expression. Those first 2 years after you left, I almost went crazy trying to find you, but someone didn't want me to, so I had no news until I pretended to get close to Lucy. My mom finally let her guard down and I finally traced your whereabouts. I kept waiting for you to come back, and when you did, you made me feel like a joke. The door slammed shut and I stared blankly at the entrance. I turned to look at David, our eyes meeting. My mind replayed what Leo had just said. David finally broke the silence. Did I come out at a bad time? I lowered my head, smiling softly. It was just a few words exchanged, but David's stare made me super uneasy. I wanted to go to my room and be alone for a bit, but he grabbed my wrist. If you want to cry, just cry. You won't see. I shook off David's hand. Sorry, I just want some space. Back in the room, I saw Jackson rubbing his eyes as he sat up. Mom, who was just here? Was it that uncle who looks a lot like me? I was startled and wanted to say no, but I didn't want to lie to my kid. The little guy hugged me. Mom, was it that uncle? Next time he comes, can you wake me up? Jackson likes that uncle. Mom, Jackson's dad isn't dead, right? He's Jackson's dad, isn't he? Looking at Jackson's cautious expression, I realized kids aren't as simple as we think. He wanted a dad too. Those times he avoided things were really envy when seeing other kids with their dads. After thinking for 2 days, I asked Lily to arrange a meet with Leo. We agreed he'd spend a day each week with Jackson. Whether Jackson could accept him was on the kid. Leo seemed way into it. Thank you, he cautiously added. I know there's nothing between you and David, so maybe we... Leo, you said we were done. The usually cool Leo suddenly blushed. That was just me in a bad mood. I ignored him and turned away. From that day, there was 1 day a week Leo would take Jackson, and the day after Leo first came over, David moved out to find a new place. I slowly got used to this new routine until the day before the Mid-Autumn Festival when Jackson went quiet. I was confused, so I knelt down and took the book in his distracted hands. Jackson, why so gloomy? He paused and tears began to fill his eyes. Mom, the teacher said the Mid-Autumn Festival is about family reunions. His words tugged at my heart, and I instantly understood why he was upset. Being with Mom is a reunion too. I hugged him, feeling his little arms around me. Mom, am I your favorite? Of course, Mom loves you the most. The little one smiled mischievously, winking when he thought I couldn't see. The next morning, the doorbell rang. I was about to answer it when Jackson dashed over. I'll get it. I watched as Jackson stood on his tiptoes to open the door. As soon as the door opened, his excited voice rang out. Dad. Leo walked in and picked up Jackson. His face wearing a youthful grin, Jackson said, Guess what I brought you? Our eyes met, and I clenched my... You're here. Leo patted Jackson's head, then walked over to me. Can we have dinner together tonight? While I was hesitating, Jackson dashed over. Mom and Dad, let's celebrate Mid-Autumn Festival together. I couldn't say no to Jackson's hopeful request, so I agreed. How about we go out for dinner to celebrate Mid-Autumn? Yay! Jackson cheered, and I quickly looked away from Leo. No eye contact. I can't risk softening my stance. Those eyes always see deep into my emotions and secrets, and I'm this close to giving in. When we got downstairs, Leo opened the passenger door. Hesitant, I held Jackson and sat in the back. Leo paused for a second, then said, My bad. Kids shouldn't ride up front. As we arrived at the restaurant, I noticed it was one of his famous local spots. Holding Jackson's hand, we got out, and Jackson rushed to Leo's side, watching him keenly. Dad, carry me? Leo immediately scooped him up. Watching this scene, I secretly clenched my hand. I've been raising Jackson alone for 4 years, and in just a few months, he's already glued to his real dad. Blood is thicker than water. Inside, the manager greeted us. Leo, your table's ready. Ignoring the comment, Leo asked, How did you know he's my son? The hostess led Leo inside. With a smile, Leo added, See how well-behaved my son is? The young woman blushed and replied softly, Very well-behaved, just like you. Flattered, Leo's grin widened and Jackson pinched my arm. Do we look alike? I was about to answer when someone called my name. Clara. I turned around to see David. He walked over to us, politely greeting Leo. "Leo, what a coincidence." Leo coolly nodded in response. David then turned to me. "Want to grab lunch tomorrow?" Just as I was about to agree, Leo, holding Jackson, confidently walked between us. "Time to eat." Jackson seized my shoulder as we moved on, leaving David with a bittersweet smile. "Go ahead, we can chat later." I nodded and followed Leo. At the table, Jackson clumsily stood on his chair to serve Leo. "Dad, try this." He was holding celery, something Leo never eats. I instinctively took it for myself, realizing just how automatic my actions were as I ate. Jackson showed a hint of disapproval. I picked it for Dad. Leo had a smile on his lips. Seeing Jackson's expression, he pointed to the plate of bamboo shoots on the table. "Give Dad a piece of bamboo shoot." Kids have emotions that come and go quickly. Obediently, Jackson placed a piece of bamboo shoot into Leo's bowl. That meal was filled with warmth and laughter. Meanwhile, my mind slowly cleared and I started worrying about what might happen if Leo and I ended up parting ways again. What if he wanted to take Jackson from me? Jackson insisted on having both Leo and me join him for story time before bed. Once the moon was high, Jackson finally fell asleep. Leo and I carefully got out of bed, tiptoeing out and gently closing the door. In the dimly lit living room, I stood awkwardly, expecting Leo to say something. Before leaving, he silently stepped forward and pulled me into a hug. As I instinctively tried to pull away, memories of those 2 years flashed through my mind. Then I remembered Jackson's smile all day today. As my body relaxed, I heard Leo take a deep breath, followed by a satisfied sigh. "Clara, I've waited 5 years for you until today." What hit me 5 years ago on Mid-Autumn Festival was when I left without a word. I always wondered, everything seemed perfect between us. "Why did you go?" "I did find out about you later and I was sure you'd return eventually. That's why I was at the baby store that day. I once hated how you left and considered taking Jackson back to show you how painful losing someone you care about could be. But I couldn't do it. If that's what you wanted, I thought, then let it be. But I couldn't help myself. Seeing you with David made me say things I shouldn't have. I never got together with Lucy, we only saw each other at gatherings. That day, I just wanted to upset you." I was silent, but tears kept flowing. Leo stepped back a little and gently kissed my forehead. "Clara, what you're worried about isn't a problem. Why didn't you wait for me to sort it out before leaving?" With trembling hands, I grabbed Leo's shirt like a drowning person grasping their only lifeline. "Because the gap was too big. Your circle, your family, plus your family had a sudden crisis then. If I hadn't left, Lucy wouldn't have helped you." Before I could finish, Leo suddenly lifted me and placed me on the sofa. "The question of whether we match isn't an issue. If I want to marry you, no one can stop me." I was stunned and our eyes met, his pupils reflecting my uneasy face. His hot kisses moved from my cheek toward my lips. His voice trembling, he said, "Clara, that night I thought, after giving ourselves to each other, you wouldn't leave me. How could you be so heartless?" A tingling at my lips, Leo was gently biting. "I won't let you go again." The next morning, as Jackson opened his eyes, he looked around the room. "Where's Dad?" "Dad went back home," I said while folding the quilt. Suddenly, behind me, the child's voice choked up. "Does Dad not want me anymore?" A pang hit my heart, and I turned to explain to the 4-year-old, "Mom and Dad aren't married yet, so they can't live in the same house." Jackson's eyes darted around. "When will you get married then?" I fell silent, but then the doorbell rang and Jackson eagerly went to open it. "Dad." I looked up just in time to see Leo wave a bag of breakfast at Jackson. Dad came to join Jackson and Mom for breakfast. Jackson excitedly pointed to one of the bags. "Mom, it's the spicy soup you love." I got up. "You're here." While Leo was keeping Jackson entertained with breakfast, I went to the bedroom and took the spare key from the nightstand drawer. When I handed it to Leo, his face lit up with joy. I glanced at Jackson happily eating, then turned to Leo. "It's yours now." Leo held onto the key firmly, his voice confident. "In 3 days, I'll bring you home." I lowered. My head silently accepted his promise. Adults don't need long courtships, either leave on good terms or get married. I still love him, and Jackson needs him. I can't find a reason to refuse. On the day of moving back in with Leo, I hesitated at the door. The person beside me held my hand, warm in his grasp, while holding Jackson in the other. Taking a deep breath, I let him lead me inside. As soon as we entered, I saw a dignified woman sitting on the sofa. I hesitated before calling out, "Auntie." Leo set Jackson down and patted his head. In a flash, he bolted over and ran to the sofa. "Grandma." "Oh, what a cute baby." Grandma wants a hug. Leo leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Trump card." I looked down and chuckled but was surprised when I heard someone calling my name. "Clara, come sit next to Auntie." After a reassuring squeeze of my hand, I nervously walked over to the sofa. I expected a lecture, but the voice grew warmer. "Auntie was wrong back then. You and Leo have a good life together." Pulling Jackson into her arms, she waved a hand. "Pick a day to get married. I'll take Jackson off your hands." Finally, a breath I was holding was released. I looked over at Leo. He pressed a hand on my shoulder, sounding pleased. "I didn't let you down." For the first time since we reunited, I reached out and held his hand. "Thank you." That night, Jackson stayed at the old house. Leo took me out for dinner, and we caught up in the mood. He drank more than usual. After 10, I helped him stagger back into the apartment. As soon as we entered, he fell into my arms with his chin on my shoulder. He whispered in my ear, "I finally got you back, Clara. Honey, my cuff links are old. Can you get me some new ones?" Warm lips tentatively moved in closer. The moment I realized the person in my arms wasn't resisting, the kiss gradually deepened. His hand on my waist started to grip tighter, leaving no space between us. I felt light on my feet as Leo effortlessly lifted me up, and I instinctively wrapped my legs around his waist. From the door to the bed, he removed the fishtail clip from my hair and gently laid me on the bed, my hair falling to one side. I became slightly more aware as he took off his t-shirt and leaned down. "Clara, you might not believe this, but I've only ever had you. No one else in these 5 years." At first, I didn't quite believe him, but as things went out of control, I started to. By 2 a.m., I was lying limp in bed. Leo looked satisfied, gently tucking my sweat-damp hair behind my ear. "Clara, let's pick a day to get our marriage license." Exhausted, I weakly agreed, but not long after, Leo leaned over again. "Clara." After a moment, tears welled up in my eyes and I sobbed through gritted teeth. "Leo, I'm taking the kid and leaving tomorrow." The day I registered my marriage with Leo was Jackson's birthday. At the dinner table that evening, 2 red marriage books lay beside the Super Wings cake. The moment Jackson saw them, he clapped his hands in excitement. I laughed. "So happy, huh?" He suddenly sat up straight and serious. "Godmother said that with ease. I'm not a nobody anymore. What doesn't Lily tell him next to us?" Leo handed a bag to Jackson, a birthday present. I pulled out 2 bags, one from Mom and the other from David. Leo immediately frowned, squeezing out 2 words as he looked at David's bag. Jackson, unaware of adult situations, happily accepted everything. With the candles lit, he clasped his hands and said, "I hope I can always be with Mom and Dad." Later, after putting Jackson to bed, Leo and I stood by the window. He said, "I've been thinking. Let's have David as our groomsman." I turned to him slowly, trying to keep my composure. "Why are you so petty?" A warm hand cupped my cheek, and I heard a smile in Leo's voice. "Kidding. Let's just send him an invite." Leaning into his embrace, the familiar scent from years ago surrounded me. Leo's sentimental, he keeps things, and I'm one of them. On the wedding day, David's gift arrived without him. Leo wore a smug expression. I knew he wouldn't dare show up. I closed my eyes, reining it in, we're still on stage. Meanwhile, Jackson stood primly in his suit before the host. His small voice was youthful and clear as he said, "Now the groom may kiss the bride." As Jackson ran forward to witness it, Leo kissed me and covered Jackson's eyes. "Not for kids. Be good." Jackson stamped his feet in frustration. "I'm sleeping with Mom tonight, and you're not allowed." The end. Leo might never know when I started liking her. It was summer, the sun was high, and a cat roamed the campus. That's when I first noticed her. She was crouched by the flower bed with a bag of cat food, mumbling, "Eat this cat food and help me pass my exams." I chuckled to myself, and a friend asked why I was laughing. I nodded towards her. "That girl's kind of cute." My friend grinned. "What, got a crush?" I playfully punched his shoulder. "Don't talk nonsense." Little did I know those words would come true. After that day, I often thought of her feeding the cats, but I wasn't expecting to see her again until the school organized an event. She was the main planner. This little girl seemed to have endless energy. From then on, I couldn't resist wanting to be near her. We got closer and naturally ended up together. I never dared to tell her about my family background, fearing she'd be disappointed or want to back away. She seemed strong, but occasionally she was sensitive and insecure. Growing up with a single parent meant her family couldn't provide her with much of a safety net. Then came my birthday, and she gifted me a pair of cufflinks. I cherished them. I was aware of the disdainful glances and hurtful remarks, but seeing how unfazed she was, I didn't take them to heart. But I never imagined she'd plan a breakup. That night, she unexpectedly cuddled up to me, shy yet courageously blossoming like a flower. I thought having each other meant I wouldn't lose her. Yet when I awoke, she was gone. It was 5 long years. Thankfully, I later tracked her down, learning she was returning and with a 4-year-old child. It shocked me. There was no doubt the child was mine. I marveled at how amazing my girl still was. She had managed to live alone with a child for 4 years, hearing about Lily renting her a place. I arranged for the house I planned as a marital home to be shown to Lily. The decor and furniture were all to her taste. Our first encounter was me chasing her down. She tried desperately to leave, but I saw right through her. She feared I'd learn about Jackson and take him away, so she wouldn't admit he was my son. What she didn't know was that I didn't just want to take Jackson, I wanted to bring her home too. But I didn't anticipate another man entering her life. Still, I wasn't concerned. As Jackson's biological father, I already held an unbeatable position. What gave me further confidence was knowing she still loved me, so I decided to win over Jackson first. Once he was close to me, getting her back was only a matter of time. As I expected, she went from resistance to slowly softening and eventually gave me a spare key to her house. She even agreed to move back with me. I knew I was on the cusp of reclaiming my girl. Heaven knows I had waited 5 years for this day, but I'll never let her find out that long ago I was the one who first fell for her. Because I ran out of things to say about love, I guess I should back off. Those years I was missing by her side, David's presence was way too strong. I need to use those years of our unique closeness to keep her with me forever.